You can move it with the
Okay.
hello, everybody. Today we're going to be talking to you about towards the global code of ethics. My name is Alexander Ortiz,
I'm Nyla Manson.
I'm Desiree Guthrie.
and we're going to start by introducing you to a general description of IEEE Code of Ethics articles. This Code of Ethics is a general rules for behavior in the workplace used to support the upkeep of the integrity and standards for any engineers, let it be in one country or any other part of the world. Another point that we wanted to emphasize on this presentation is that how different nations and communications have different codes of ethics. They all share the fundamental knowledge of what is good and wrong for a code of ethics. And finally, the published articles that we will contrast into the IEEE uh, Code of Ethics with 32 other worldwide codes of ethics as well. So we're going to begin with introducing you to some of the ideas. To start off, we are going to be talking about for the geographical and historical cultural reasons, different civilizations have distinct codes of ethics, yet they all have the common understanding of what is right and evil. Additionally, the society have not combined their ideas into a single international code of ethics that emphasizes the importance of welfare, health, and public safety. But instead, this publishment will list the items that other international societies had adopted as part of their own codes of ethics and those that the IEEE has not. Finally, these documents will try to always seek or identify common items that are suitable for conclusions, inclusion in international code for ethics for the electrical and electronic engineers. And finally, the authors have selected 32 national nations to analyze to create this code of ethics because of many international groups that lack websites or codes of conduct in their own respective homelands. So what does it look like, the IEEE Code of Ethics? It consists of 10 articles covering the general idea for the following: obligations endorsed to the general public, an environment, which is the primary goal of the IEEE Code of Ethics, the obligation to the employees and professionals. Next, the obligation to be fair all across the board, meaning that there cannot be discrimination to any other human or peers just because they have different disabilities or different genders. And finally, the other idea that they should be maintaining the code of ethics at all time with the support of our peers as well as the company that we're working for. And the right side, we can observe what we are referring to as the IEEE Code of Ethics and listing the 10 codes that have been added into these Code of Ethics. Next.
Okay, so for the second section of the paper, it was the related work section. And the points that I noticed were, first of all, that some articles of IEEE may not be explicitly stated, but as quoted, different societies may be touching on the same aspect in different ways. So it could be like the meaning or how engineers perform will end up being the same way, even though it's not said the exact same way in the different codes of ethics. The next point that I noticed was IEEE focused more on the doing than being that enables the practice of engineering. And then they said, although all codes do have both aspects, I was trying to dig deeper into that to see what they meant, but I couldn't find the article. The third point that I took away from that was the differences between cultures, religions, and area is what makes it difficult to come to one general code of ethics, because that was the biggest takeaway, that the different countries were trying to come to one general code of ethics. But that's hard to do, as we've seen in reading, because different areas have different religions and different morals and different backgrounds. So they have different morals and ethics. And then the last point that me and my team took away was there's usually general dissatisfaction with any code, and there are constant pressures for revision. So there were different authors quoted in the paper, and these were just some of their different arguments that disagreed or agreed with what the IEEE was saying. And the first one, Robin Smith, she argued that the codes are self-serving and are designed to protect the economic interest of the profession than the public from unethical conduct, I'm sorry. And that's what we were also talking about in class, the ethical egoism. And then the second argument was there's growing interest in how effective the codes of ethics, which is also leading to a shift in managers and more ethical training for employees. And then the last takeaway was from Charles E. Harris, and he argued that virtue ethics is a better code to adopt, and these disciplines are crucial in the education of professional engineers. And then right here is just a picture explaining basically virtue ethics by Charles E. Harris. And then this right here, this was just the takeaway from the third topic on the page. And this first one is Article 6. This was the one that was most commonly between all the countries, Article 6. And it is to improve technical competence and undertake tasks only if qualified. And this was the most commonly shared article. The least commonly shared article was Article 2, which is to avoid real or perceived conflicts of interest whenever possible, and to disclose them to affected parties when they do exist. And then lastly, the Philippines, Hong Kong, and Canada have all of the articles included in IEEE plus more. That's it for me, Desiree. It's your turn.
Sorry about that. So this is some additional information, basically. So it's just showing us that a ratio 7 out of 10 Asians society codes differ depending on the IEEE code in over 5 articles. In African societies, in 6 African societies, codes differ with IEEE, and the most widely adopted IEEE codes are listed in the picture. So articles not included in IEEE. The first one is an engineer who is engaged in engineering, working in a country other than his own order, must conduct depending on the rule to that country, which not only ensures legal compliance, but it also reflects commitment to global ethical standards. The second one about members not being allowed to, members shall not allow or adverse their work, merit or write articles for publications in any manner that is derogatory to the institution or to the dignity of their profession. Basically showed that whether or not we're involved with IEEE, refraining from derogatory practices in our work is basically essential. So the next one basically talks about fair competition, which remains to be the key to all connections and affiliations. The last one about a professional engineer in private practice shall not attempt to supplant another professional engineer in private practice, not intervene in connections with engineering work or any kind, which is to his knowledge, has already been entrusted to another professional engineer in private practice. Basically, is talking about respecting professional engagements and refraining from intervening with colleagues' work and principles that step over organizational boundaries.
Okay, and this is just our excited page, and that concludes our presentation. Again, I'm Nyla Mason.
I'm Desiree Guthrie.
And that's Alex.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.